Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong, where we have just finished catching up with Gaichu here. And to prove it, come back another time, Noel. I'm still pondering our last conversation. He is finished talking to us for now. But we have Ractor to talk to. My friend, there is something that I would like to discuss for you. Something related to the Ares run that you recently accepted. I thought I would have to mention this to him. You know, I mentioned earlier, I mentioned it either in the text and I may have mentioned on the video, I don't really clearly remember if I mentioned it on the video, that I found it highly convenient that there were two famous European designers of drones involved in this Ares run. Very convenient indeed. So yeah, I thought I was going to have to broach that subject though. You may recall my story about my former colleagues Taylor and Hardingham, the ones who stole my research. They work at that facility. If the auto repair circuits that they took from me still exist, they are there. I need you to bring me on the run to retrieve them. Of course. You'll be the first man on the train when we head out. Thank you, my friend. You will not regret this decision, I guarantee it. Okay. The air in Ractor's shop is ripe with the stench of old metalworking fluids. He turns to you, a burning cigarette clenched between his teeth. Sorry about the smell. It's a long past time to plunge the coolant sump. He frowns. If I had access to proper equipment, this would not be a problem. I could clean the fluid and reuse it, but alas, halogen treatment chambers are rather hard to come by, even in a place like Haoi. He shakes his head as if to clear it. Anyway, my friend, you didn't come here to discuss the ins and outs of shop maintenance, I'm sure, so what brings you here? Any thoughts about that last run? The convention, DECCON was it, was not to my liking, I'm afraid. Too much frivolity, too little substance. Gods, the noodle extruder had a longer line than any of the exhibits. He shakes his head sadly. An absolutely shameful state of the affairs. That said, I suppose that some of the drones on display looked interesting, commercial-grade stuff mostly, but it's good to see what the big manufacturers are up to these days. I'm doing the wrong voice again, aren't I? I've been out of the loop, I suppose. Since I left Grecian Avicor. I haven't missed much, but it was nice to see what else is out there. Now, what else would you have of me? I just asked that. I've been thinking about what we talked about last time. Mind if I ask you a few questions? Be my guest. I have no secrets to keep. How did the drone self-repair system that you invented work? There were three distinct elements to my approach. When these elements were all working in concert, prototypes that utilized the process displayed remarkable self-repair capabilities. This may be a lengthy explanation. I can skim over it if you please, or I can break it down for you if you're genuinely interested. Give me the long version. Give it to me in bold strokes. I'll get the long version. Yes, I am torturing you! Ha 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 ha! He shifts his cigarette to the corner of his mouth, and I continue to do a fairly bad accent. Very well. The long version it is. The first element of my process was an outer skin that the drone could be wrapped in. A refinement of older biomimetic self-healing materials modeled to emulate the self-repair capabilities of living beings. Imagine a polymer composite interlaced with microtubules, capillaries, if you will. These vessels are capable of delivering bonding agents to the site of a wound as it occurs, thus healing it. I've heard of smart materials that operate on a similar principle. They've been around for decades, haven't they? Yes, though they remain uncommon until recently. As I said, my material was a refinement of those earlier designs. It was only the first part of a system. The synergy between the three was what made the project work. The second element involved the underlying structure of the drone's architecture, the servos, gears, circuits, etc. Utilizing self-assembling materials and redundant systems, I created a system by which damaged components could be fabricated and replaced by the drone itself, without any need for human interference. Alright, so you have self-healing skin and a self-replacing underlying structure. What was the third part? Finally, the system had a blow! Thank you, Misclick. Finally, the system had a magical element, and we will skip past some of the discussion of that because certain people do not have finely honed finger control over the mouse. In layman's terms, a magical element was necessary to render the system self-perpetuating. Obviously, no purely mechanical system can repair itself indefinitely. Synthetic skin becomes more brittle with every wound that it heals, and the automated assembly components will eventually run out of materials to work with. As a rule, fighting against entropy is a losing proposition. But with magic, we can rewrite the rules. Weaken the grasp of those entropic forces to the point that they are rendered negligible. Think of magic as a lubrication that keeps the gears turning. I wish that it weren't necessary, but I am also a realist. I must confess that it is required for the system to work. And this package of systems is what your former colleague stole from you, what you need to get back? Yes, given enough time and resources, I might be able to recreate the first two components of the system on my own. But the magic component is, and will forever be, completely beyond me. That is why it is so important that we recover my research, the prototype that was stolen, and we will recover them. Of that I have no doubt. There's a hard limit to the fusion of man and machine. Doesn't your vision of the future require us to get past that? You're speaking of the essence limit and the problems associated with essence loss. He releases a plume of smoke from the corner of his mouth. Yes, of course it will be a problem, but as with all problems, a workaround will present itself. Of this I am certain. Are you basing that on anything, or are you just taking it on faith? He smirks at you. No, my friend, I am not taking it on faith. My beliefs are rooted in my own observations and experiences, and I'm doing more German than Russian, suddenly. For the time being, let us leave the matter at that, and I don't know what that is. I've lost it completely. I have some more questions for you, if you don't mind. Feel free to ask them. I will provide what answers I can. What do you think a post-human future would mean? Freedom. He takes a long drag on his cigarette, sucking the smoke deep into his lungs. When he speaks, it erupts from his mouth in a plume. The ultimate freedom to direct our progress, to steer ourselves as a people in whatever direction we wish. Consider, my friend, every aspect of Koshé was tailor-made for a purpose, dreamed up, designed, and built by a singular guiding intellect. Keep going. Now think of the circumstances surrounding your own birth, the building blocks that shaped you into the woman you are today. Your mother and father exchanged fluids, sloppily, no doubt, and with all the mindless abandon that such biological imperatives entail. That might have been the ugliest description of sex I've ever heard. Not really. I've heard worse. Ugly, perhaps, but accurate. Sexual intercourse is an inarticulate process, messy delivery mechanism for genetic material, spurred on by hormones and base urges. Any attempt to guide the process on a societal level gets branded eugenics and decried as monstrous for obvious reasons, because it is. But I digress. The point I was making was that the forces that shaped you and me, and anyone else you cared to mention, were ultimately mindless ones, blind, manipulative biological drives that led a sperm and an egg to collide. Add in a roll of the dice and a dash of Mendelian genetics, and here you are. The natural process of evolutions and sexual selection guide the development of our species through that trial and error. Throw a billion dots at the wall and see what sticks. In the future that I foresee, this process will be reined in, guided by our own controlling intellects. To co-opt an antiquated phrase, the myth of intelligent design will become a reality, and we will be our own gods, reshaping ourselves as we see fit. And what does this have to do with posthumanism? I agree with this, but I'm not going to get in a full philosophical argument with a game. Step back for a moment and imagine a future in which we have fully integrated with machines. Really imagine it. There will be no niche that we cannot fill. We can guide our own evolution. We tailor ourselves to whatever environment we see fit. We will no longer be slaves to the selective processes that have dictated our development since time immemorial. Let us say that you are right. At what point do we cease becoming human and become something else instead? Whenever we choose to define ourselves in that way, humanity is an intrinsically human concept. If we decide to rebrand ourselves as a different species, that is our decision to make. I strongly suspect nobody else would care. What's the end game that you envision for us in this grand post-human future? Ghost raises itself up on its legs, stretching so that Reactor can caress its chassis. The motion is alarmingly fluid, more like a living being than a machine. Reactor traces his fingertips over the drone's shell, his eyes focused on an imaginary point on the horizon. We have placed such unnecessary limitations on ourselves, my friend. It fills my heart with sorrow to know what we could be but are not. I would see those limits stripped away, peeled back and discarded for the betterment of all. In the future that I foresee, we will open our eyes to the possibilities that surround us. Bodies reshaped to thrive in the deep ocean and the depths of space. Bodies inspired by nature or the human imagination, or both. Bodies that can be used and shed and used again and inhabited as the wearer see fit. Sleeves! The timely realization of such a future is what drives me forward. It is the cause to which I have devoted my life, and thankfully it is inevitable. Assuming, of course, we don't destroy ourselves first. He types his cigarettes, sending ash spilling down onto the metal floor. Mind if I ask you about something else? Not at all. Go ahead. So in this post-human future that you're trying to bring about, what would a drone like Koshé, what role would a drone like Koshé play? Similar one to the role that he plays now, I imagine. He was designed for a purpose, after all. That said, I can see the techniques that went into his design and fabrication having much broader ranging applications. You're pretty attached to that drone of yours. You've even assigned it a gender. You keep calling it him. Yes, of course. Koshé is very close to me. As if on cue, the drone scuttles forward, the hardened tips of its claws screeching across the metal floor of the shop. It comes up just in front of you, a strange mechanical chitter rising from deep within its chassis. You might excuse me of anthropomorphizing my little companion, assigning human characteristics to him where, in fact, there are none. Truth be told, there is much more to Koshé than meets the eye, but that is a different conversation. One best suited to be held for another time, if that's what you want. It is. I have work to do, and I'm sure that you can find better uses for your time than listening to me prattle on. And with that, I'm afraid that I must ask you to show yourself out. We can continue our talk at a later time. All right, Recta, we'll talk later. Good night, and just to double check. It is long past time to resume my work. My apologies, but I must ask you to leave. You'll see yourself to the hatch, won't you? Yep. We have done everything we can with that. Okay. We finished that. Finished Gaichu. Finished Raktor. We have a couple more people to have to do. You notice we have to rediscover the... we have 3 more people. I'm going to exercise a bit, Killeen. Helps me clear my head. Come back later and we'll talk. Oh, I can't talk to you. Interesting. Can I talk to Isabel? Isabel half turns away from the octopus's main display. She looks up at you, blinking. As a note, my image of Isabel has been completely ruined by that run. I mean, in the most wonderful way possible. I initially imagined her as that kind of brusque, low emotional type sort that was just, you know, that I was using that kind of ethereal type voice I've used for Daishana and Nyx in Hellenica, or tried to. I'm always getting falling short of it. And it kind of occurs to me that that's okay now, because she's really just a teenager. The memory stick that you acquired from Rhombus has already been slotted into one of the computer's many expansion ports. The cherry red plastic that sheaves the stick looks slick and wet in the light. You did good back there. The run went well. Her eyes flit to the memory stick. We got the stick. The key to my old memories. All I have to do now is slot it. Any thoughts about that last run? Yeah, of course I've got thoughts. It was my run, right? She paused for a moment. And, thank you for coming with me. Don't mention it. It was fun. Don't know if I'd call it that, but we got what we came for. That's something. Anything else you wanted to know? You haven't unlocked your memories yet? No, not yet. I mean, I can. It'd be as simple as plugging myself in and tapping a key. My old memories are all mine if I want them. But you're not sure you want them. That's about the shape of it. I'm feeling hesitant about this. It isn't easy, you know, shifting organic memories into hardware storage, wiping the originals, locking them away for safekeeping. That's corporate-level mind sculpting, serious business. I'm assuming that there's a point to all this. The point is that I wouldn't have let an amateur tinker with my brain if it wasn't important. If it wasn't important. Whatever I've got up there, I was desperate to get rid of it. Makes a girl wonder why. Tell me, Isabel, would it have been easier for you to have Rumbus just wipe the memories altogether? Yes. Much easier. Still not without risk, but you didn't do that. You had him move the memories into storage. Why? Because I knew that one day I might need them. And today is that day. Okay. So why are we even talking about this? You've made this decision twice already. Once when you had the memories moved into storage, and again when you took us on a run to get the key. Yeah, you're right. I've already decided what to do. I'm just dragging my feet because I'm afraid. Your memories are just memories. What's happening in the walled city, whatever it is, that's what you should be afraid of. You're right, I know that. I knew it before we went to get the code. I just needed to talk it through with someone, not Gobbet, someone who could take the situation seriously. I needed to talk it through it with you. That's what I'm here for. Without another word, she pulls the cable from a pile on the floor, slots it in her data jack, the other end disappears into one of the octopus's many brains. Her fingers fly across the octopus's keyboard, rattling off a series of audible clicks. Finally, her thumb hovers over the execute key. All right, Noelle, wish me luck. The key depresses with an audible click. Isabel's eyes flutter and her cheeks flush with blood. No, 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 no. She starts shaking her head from side to side, wringing her hands. A progress bar on the octopus's auxiliary monitor slowly climbs. Oh, fuck. You got this, Iz. Don't back down now. Thanks for the tip. And I'm not backing down. It's almost done. Progress bar climbs to 100. Isabel snatches the cable back out of her data jack and covers her eyes with her hands. She's shivering. She clutches her temples in the palm of her hands. Now I remember. I didn't want these anymore. But they're your memories, Isabel. You can handle them. That's not necessarily true. Not like this, I can't. These are years of bad memories, all let out of the box at once. It's overwhelming, and it's horrible. I want it to stop. I can remember things that happened to friends of mine, relatives, things that I watched happen. No. You're strong. Believe it. Yes, I can. This is harder than you think. Her voice is ragged raw. These memories are crystal clear. It's like all this shit happened yesterday. I can remember watching friends die. I can see their screaming faces just as clearly as I did the day that it happened. It's like watching a trid show, but it's my life and it's real. Is there anything in there that can help us? She screws her eyes shut in concentration, beads of sweat hang heavy on her brow. I think so, yes. It'll take time for me to sift through all of this. She opens her eyes again and looks up at you. I'll hold on to these memories for as long as I can, hopefully long enough to reveal something useful. No promises beyond that, though. I'm not asking for promises, just do your best. She gives a weak half smile. I always do. One thing that does jump out at me, Rhombus archived some software up here. It's sitting on top of the memories, all wrapped up like a present. Don't know why he did it, but it looks like a combat package. Taps her temple with a fingernail. Combat package, you say? Sort of a weak, some sort of basic attack modification. I'll have to study to be sure, but I think I can use it. Can't wait to see it in action. Yeah, it's all very exciting, but for now, just give me some space, okay? Turns away shivering. Like I said, it's going to take some time for me to make sense of this stuff. All right, I'll check back in with you later. Good, go, now. Okay, not talking to her again, yet. Gobbet! What are you cooking in your bowl of horribleness? Gobbet looks up from her hot plate at the sound of your approach. A smile creases her face. She raises her eyebrows and gestures at the cabin around you. You know, the Bolt Hall has really been shaping up over the past few days. With all the work you've been putting into her, she's starting to feel like a real home. Anyway, enough about the boat. Ready for our next lesson, or did you just want to chat? I could ask about the last run and see what she says. You didn't bring me on our last run, so no, I don't have much to say. Nice to have a night off, I guess? So what did you want to chat about? And also, when I shrugged there, I felt something click in my shoulder that was not very pleasant. I'm ready for my next lesson. Yeah? That's good. I was hoping you'd want to keep going with this. It's good for you, and I'm kind of enjoying it, too. Gobbet runs a hand through the knotted ropes of her hair, a contemplative look on her face. A moment later, she turns her attention back to you. All right, this is going to be another long story, so I'm thinking we should take it in chunks. If you've got any questions, you can ask them along the way. And if you need to take a break, we can come back to it. Sound good? Sure, sounds good. Good. So, last time I told you about the event that brought an end to my illustrious career as a subcontractor. This time I'm going to tell you about a run that I went on with my regular team. Was this where you started running with Isabel? No, this is long before Iz hit the streets as a runner. We were friends and everything, but she was still learning to deck back then. She was good for her age, but she wasn't ready for prime time. You don't know anyone from that group that I'm talking about. They're all gone now anyway. Wait, you lost 3 other teams before you hooked up with me. Yeah, I did. Thanks for rubbing it in. Sorry. Her words are rueful, but her tone is soft. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. When you run the shadows, losing people is an occupational hazard. She offers you a lopsided smile. As Shadowrunners, we're disposable assets. It shouldn't come as a surprise when we get used up and tossed away. It's the same way in the Barrens. Here today, gone tomorrow. Yeah, you know how it is. People died. It's sad. There's no sense moping about it. Okay. How did you meet this group of yours? Oh, through mutual friends. We actually all lived together before we decided to start running as a team. There was this floating squatters commune out in Hung Hum Bay. It's probably still out there, actually. I haven't been back in a long time, but I spent a few years living on the thing, and the rest of the team lived there with me. Squatters commune? She nods. We called it the sinking ship. It was like an enormous raft all bolted together from old shipping containers. Wasn't the most comfortable place I've ever lived, but the price was right and the company was good. Okay, tell me about the team you were running with. Sure. She extends a hand so that she can count off teammates on her fingers. Madness scurries down her sleeve and perches on her forearm. You can tell the rats apart now. Our muscle was Hawaiian Jew with poor impulse control. Big round guy with lumberjack arms and ringlets in his hair. He called himself Hanu. I guess that he loved turtles? Honu? I don't know. Street names are weird. Says the person named Gobbet. And you told me this was going to be a long one, so I'm going to go ahead and switch videos. I'll see you in a moment.